Welcome to Acts of Awakening, a series of heartfelt conversations about the roles that we play, the masks that we wear, and the archetypes we embody. Acts of Awakening is a play place to unpack the moments in life that call us to change roles and dissolve masks, individuating us into the next version of ourselves. Together, we will explore the perspective of the cosmic play, inspiring soulful insights and a deeper understanding of the journey of becoming. Host Suri Sawyer is a certified death doula, Reiki healer, yoga guide, ancestral medicine practitioner, and multidimensional psychic. As a walking transmission, equal parts cosmic mirror, soul whisperer, and multidimensional midwife, she embodies the energy of a lucid dream. Soft yet activating, grounded yet infinite. Suri weaves shadow and light without fear. Her essence feels like plant medicine incarnate. Her presence initiates recalibration and an invitation into introspection, remembrance, and sacred revolution. Now here's your host, Suri Sawyer.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to Acts of Awakening. I'm Suri Sawyer, and today I have two very special guests that will be joining me for a heartfelt conversation. First is Cami Mitchell, and I am honored to say that I've known Cami for about 10 years. She started out as a mentor, became a friend, and now is like a sister. And hello, Shelby. Hello, Mandy. A little bit about Cami. Cami is a heart mentor, authenticity coach, and a soulful guide with over 23 years of experience in mentoring, speaking, and holding transformational spaces. After courageously leaving a toxic marriage, a 40-year religious identity, and old patterns, Cami now helps others reclaim their truth, power, and joy. Trained in emotional healing, energy work, inner child play, and somatic release, she blends wisdom and warmth to remind us all we deserve more love, not less love. As I observe Cami, there are three major archetypes that I have chosen that she really embodies fully. The first one is the lover archetype. The lover embodies passion, connection, and tenderness. She seeks beauty and intimacy, nurturing deep bonds and celebrating the pleasures of life with warmth and devotion. The other archetype that I see Cami play out a lot is the innocent archetype. She represents purity, hope, and a sense of wonder. She believes in goodness and dreams of a better world, approaching life with both trust and optimism. The other archetype that I really see Cami embodying is the caretaker archetype. The caretaker archetype is compassionate, nurturing, and selfless. She finds fulfillment in tending to others' needs, offering both love and support with kindness and patience. So that's a little bit about Cami. I'm excited for you guys all to see those archetypes embodied in one fabulous human. And today she'll be accompanied by her wonderful son, Andon. And here's a little bit about Andon. Andon has been dancing and wrestling with cancer and learning from it for the last 5 years. He is now 21 years young or old, learning to love himself and choosing to be here now in this body. This is where his magic lies. He has undergone many surgeries and several rounds of chemo. He has been learning to trust himself and his body at deeper levels as he chooses into holistic modalities of healing. Currently, Cami and Andon are participating in the TOL trial that uses extra sodium channels, on the cancerous cells in order to explode them with targeted osmosis. Andon is a seeker of truth and a mighty dragon. He is thanking his cancer cells for their teachings while letting them know that it's time to die. From my perspective, here are three archetypes that Andon really embodies. The first one that came up is the everyman archetype. The everyman represents reliability, humility, and a desire to belong. He is authentic and down to earth and seeks connection and community. His strength lies in his ability to be genuine and to find common ground with others. He also embodies the wise sage. Of course he does, right? The wise sage embodies wisdom, insight, and guidance. He seeks truth and understanding, offering clarity and perspective. His calm presence inspires trust and encourages growth through knowledge and experience. And just like his mama, he embodies also the lover archetype. He is passionate and compassionate and deeply connected to his emotions, and he loves his relationships. He celebrates beauty, intimacy, and the joy of shared experiences. His strength is in his ability to nurture love and connection in all forms. So those are our guests for today. And now we'll welcome on Andon and Cami. Hi, Jennifer Rose. Hi, Ronnie. Hi, CJ. Welcome,
Hello.
Andon and Cami.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So I'd like to start off our interview by asking kind of a hard-hitting question, which is, Andon, how old were you when you first got your cancer diagnosis?
I had just turned 17 when they told me what it was that was growing in the back of my leg.
Mhm. And would you be willing to share with us a little bit about what that journey was like when you received that information?
Yeah, so this actually all started with a car accident. Um, when I was 16, I was in a car accident and I was being treated in chiropractics and stuff to fix or to help heal bulging discs in my back. Um, so when I started getting pain in my leg, they were like, "Oh, you have bulging discs. It must be sciatica. So we'll just keep treating your back." Um, the pain in my leg kept getting worse and worse. They got to a point where I would spend every night just in the bathtub trying to manage the pain in any way that I could. The drugs the normal like medications that I would be taking weren't helping enough. Um, and all of that, I got to a place where I couldn't even walk anymore on my leg. Like I was walking around with crutches. Um, but eventually I got an x-ray of my leg because they were like, okay, sciatica doesn't actually show up physically. It's just a nerve damage pain. And you have a bulge on the back of your knee. Like we need to get that actually checked out. Um, the first time that the doctor who read the x-ray looked at it was in the same room with me, my mom, and my dad. When he saw that x-ray, his face dropped. And we all saw it happen. Um, in that moment, mom and dad started freaking out. I didn't know what was going on. I was just confused, personally. Um, but they started talking, the doctor and my parents. Um, and for me, that was just really confusing because they were using big words that I had no idea, like medical terminology that I had no clue what any of it meant. I was just a 16 or 17 at this time, 17-year-old kid who was still in high school, like just trying to live my life. And they're throwing all these terms at me saying, this could be this, could be that. And I don't even know what either of them are or what they mean. I kind of felt ignored in that moment and just like overlooked while the adults talked. And I was just like pushed off to the side because it wasn't necessarily my decision to make as I was 17, but I highly disagree with that personally. But
There's the wise sage.
I was going to say, of course, we disagree with that. And just a moment, Andon. I want to say hi to Mandy. Hi, Jennifer McCormick. Hi, Leah. Hi, Gemma. Hi, Gemma Ball. Hi, Lorianne. And hello again, Bernadette. It's good to see you. Okay, so you wanted you wanted to be able to speak up for yourself in that moment.
Yeah, but it definitely, like, I wasn't in a place to, because I didn't understand anything that was going on, and they didn't take the time to explain it to me. So when we left that room, all I knew was that I was getting another scan the next day that was more in depth, that was going to take like an hour to do the scan instead of an x-ray, which is one picture. And then just a bunch of big terms. The next day we go in and get that scanned, and it confirms one of the diagnoses that they were talking about, just that it is a large tumor. They weren't sure if it was growing or not still in those moments, but they had me, was it the next week? I was scheduled for a biopsy up at Primary Children's, so that's a 4-hour drive away from my home to go and get a surgery to test the actual tumor, see what it was. And throughout all of this time, I honestly had no clue what was going on. I was trying to hope for the best of things, but also denying the possibility that of the worst. Just because I didn't want that energy around me, because I didn't want that. Like, I was trying to run as fast as I could from anything that they were, any of the negatives that they were saying. So I was like, that's not going to happen. That's not my path. That's not my journey. I am going to be fine. It's going to be just a tumor. They're going to take it out and we're going to be fine. It's going to be good. There's nothing more to it. You know, whatever. But after we got the biopsy, we waited, was it a full week for the results? Also? Yeah. Waited for the results, and once the results came in, they told me what it was, and the next day I was in chemo.
Wow.
So again, with the denial of like me trying to run away from all of the bad things, I didn't consider them, I didn't look into them, I didn't anything to help me understand what was about to happen. So again, more confusion and just like so much was going on, so much overwhelming, everything in every way, shape, and form that I can think of. But, and then the chemo was starting, and a lot of the side effects with chemo are really hard on the body, including the brain. So after that, I didn't have much hope of getting to the level where I understood what was going on, because there was so much going on around me and my brain was hurting so much. Like, it was just really hard for me to understand anything. My emotions were everywhere because of all of the mix of drugs that I was on. Like, it was just a ton for me in those moments. But with help from my parents and the doctors like guiding me through, I eventually was able to understand more. But in the first moments, it was really scary, really confusing, really overwhelming. Just a rough experience.
Andon, thank you so much for sharing. And what I'm hearing is the initial onset of it was denial, confusion, fear, and then a sort of surrendering into the confusion and the not knowingness of it, especially with the medications causing your brain to not be able to hold the grandness of the experience. I saw up above, I want to hear from Mum, and it was MUM. So that's, where are you from? And that is actually the next question, which is, Mom, Cami, when you're in this room, so Andon was just expressing that the doctor's face drops and you see it immediately, Dad sees it immediately, and Andon is here in confusion. What is actually happening? And what was your experience of that moment like?
Leading up to that experience was 4 months worth of him in excruciating pain, and every doctor that I knew of, every health practitioner, every energy worker, all of the world that I knew, I had put him in front of, and nobody had answers. So there was a relief to finally have someone who could help us and actually knows what was going on. That was present, but to see the doctor's facial when he saw the x-ray, like he went white and just was like, oh, in that moment, like you could just feel the world kind of coming inward, just felt an implosion and collapsing. I went into denial too. They said the words, but the word cancer was so far from my reality. So when they said it, even with tumor, I still didn't go to cancer. I was more like with Andon, like, oh, we just need to surgically remove this thing. Just because it's a tumor doesn't mean, I wouldn't let myself go anywhere either. Very similar to what Andon was expressing, but I relate to the complete confusion. And then it was a whirlwind. Everything was so fast. We felt grabbed by the back of the neck and yanked. The next day was the MRI. They got us up to Primary Children's. They were doing a biopsy. We were thrown in a room, and the oncologist is telling us that basically over the next year, Andon will live here with us and be doing chemotherapy, and like just overwhelmed. Felt a shattering of our world as we knew it. Just something that had been so far away from anything nobody had ever had cancer that was even near me or family friends. I didn't know someone who dealt with that. And so it just was a crashing of reality. And so the mama in me just like got so protective. I was scared, and I had been for the last several months, to see him in so much pain, and everything that we were throwing at him, nothing could help even pull it down a little bit. And so I was frightened, and I knew I was entering into a world where I had no idea. I mean, I grew up not even willing to take Motrin and Tylenol. I'm like totally holistic, and if you have cramps, and you just take some raspberry tea. And so this whole world of not just over-the-counter medicines, now we're going into the depth of chemotherapy. Like it was just this world that it was an unknown. I realized how much I had judged that world.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore I got to be in it and sit with the bag of chemotherapy in literally in my hands. And instead of judging it and calling it poison and hating it, I got to accept and meet it with gratitude and ask it to please, as you go through my son's body, please go to the cancer cells and leave everything else alone. Just developing a different relationship with the whole entirety of this journey as we just got kind of thrown into it.
Yeah. Thank you, Cami, for sharing. And thanks for the vulnerability and the realness of it. And I can imagine the confusion and the cognitive dissonance too in it. We've got some comments from people that are listening in this moment. I'd like to share them with you. Leah asks, how is Andon feeling physically in this moment? I have a couple of relatives with brain cancer, and the treatment of it is exhausting. My heart and compassion are with him and his family. So, Andon, how are you feeling now? Oh, hold on. There we go.
In this moment, I'm feeling really good. I have been through my treatments, my surgeries. So in this moment, I'm feeling good. Thank you for asking.
Beautiful. And then Bernadette says, thank you for sharing. Your story is so inspiring. I've been in so much chronic pain. I've seen many doctors and specialists, and none of them can help me. I fear I may be very sick, and my time is passing with no help. Bernadette, so much compassion for your experience. We pray that you get the help that you need. Kate says, my son had cancer 4 times. It was hard for me. It was hard for him, but it must have been horrific. He suffered his whole life. It was relentless. He was the bravest person I ever met and laughed his way through all of it. Bernadette says, my dad and aunt and adoptive mom all passed from cancer. And yeah, Michael Zinn says hello. Michael Zinn says it's an incredible story. And incredible perseverance and intentional choice for love and for life. Kate says, it was a lack of control over the situation that was hard to deal with. It was mom's job to protect their children and couldn't, no matter how much I wanted to. I wonder if you can relate to that, Cami.
Oh, 100% relatable. It's been interesting because through this journey, the person going through whatever illness has this tremendous amount of pain, and then their loved ones have a completely different type of pain, but still pain. And we were all on this journey. There wasn't anyone who wasn't affected by it. Him at the center of the spoke and the wheel, but all the rest of us trying to deal with what do we do with the pain that we're in, especially because we can't take him out of it.
Yeah. Cami, would you, I also wanted to say, Caitlin and Emmy and Shelby are here. Donovan says, you're incredibly brave, both of you. Joy Bostrom says, what have you learned about yourself from the situation? Joy, we're going to come back to that in just a second because I want to invite Cami to express a little bit more about what it's like to be witnessing, because obviously Andon's pain and confusion and accepting of this experience is acute. And then everyone in the family system and also friends have their own experience of pain, fear, and grief that come with it. So can you speak more to that, what it's like to be the witness of a loved one who is the one experiencing this acute condition?
It's tremendously painful. My caretaker stepped forward. That archetype just jumped, and I went into hyperdrive. And I would have fallen on my face if I didn't have all of the support of everyone behind me. I'm like, I've got you, Andon. And who's got me? It's like that moment of, oh my gosh, Shelby's right there. Caitlin's right there. Like we just held Andon and passed him around, energetically speaking, to who can show up in this moment. If you don't have that support system, it is impossible. Like I don't know what people do without an incredible support system, and we're so blessed to have that. Like I'm like, I need 2 hours of sleep. Who can step in? And people were on it. There is nothing more painful than to see your loved one go through something so incredibly hard. His personality changed. He didn't understand what was happening to him. He was so confused. He'd be like, wait, who did this? What happened? And then to have to fill him in on pieces of his life that he doesn't remember, but I remember. And that's I needed help too, and thank goodness I had the support and continually. One of the guests shared that it showed up several times. for Andon, it was started out in his thigh, and he went through the whole process, got free of cancer. A year later, it showed up in his lung, and it's passed back and forth between his lung 4 or 5 times. And we're ready to complete the cycle completely here at the TOL trial in Tijuana, Mexico. Like, just so grateful for all of the people who have contributed to any of the things that help eradicate, help heal, and remove the different things. So as we all know, when a loved one goes through shit, can I say that on your show?
Sure, I think so.
It is shit. When a loved one goes through shit, you also are going through it, but in a completely different, mirrored way, as above, so below kind of thing. And so there's no one that's untouched. I'm so grateful for the system of support.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. That is interesting because someone asked, on a spiritual level, why do you think your soul chose this path? And you were just talking about kind of the soul. And I wonder, Andon, if that's something that you can speak to.
It is. So I saw that question come up and I got a little bit excited to answer it. So personally, with all of the growth and spiritual learning that I've done since the start of it, I've done lots of research, because the answers that they give you at the hospital when you're like, okay, why did I get this? How do I not get it again? Like, what's going on? Why is it coming back again? All of those questions, they don't have answers. They said, couldn't tell you. It's just one of those things that happens sometimes. So I'm not satisfied with that. So I was doing my own research. I would cheat off of her research that she was doing, because
Cheating off of her spiritual homework?
Yes, of course. But something big that I have learned and choose to believe, because everybody, has their own choices, is that this whole journey was caused because of emotional issues and problems that didn't get addressed in the emotional field, so made themselves physical so that I would have to address them. During the time when I was 16 and 17 and it was, becoming what it was, I was extremely depressed. I was super unhappy with my life. I felt extremely isolated. My parents had just gone through a divorce. I was hating school. I was falling behind in school because the previous year they had switched us to online school with COVID, and I was so bad at that I failed all of my classes. So I wasn't caught up the next year when we were starting things. I just felt very alone, isolated, and unsupported. And I also had just gotten out of a relationship, my first relationship that lasted a year and 2 months. I put everything into that because that's all that I had in those moments. And so leaving that and being in that state caused my body to manifest that all, because I was really just running away from it. I was hiding. I was in my room just by myself. I was sleeping as much as I could, playing video games when I wasn't asleep or at school. Like, it was in that space I created the perfect host. And I also was very suicidal at the time. So something that I like to say is that it actually did save my life, because if it hadn't done that, then I probably would have tried to end things. But yeah, going through all of that and actually seeing it for what it is has helped me. Like, I choose to believe that because it gives me control over the situation again. Whether it's like, some people would choose that and just to blame themselves, to feel sorry for themselves, and that's not my goal. I like it because I get control over the situation again, and I have control over my mental state, and if I keep myself positive, then I can keep myself healthy as well.
I feel like in that you described the lover, like I just got really depressed after I left the relationship, spoken like a true lover. And then, and then also the wise sage, I have control over my mind. And I know that it's the, like my, not brain, but like my mind, my thoughts, that's one of the keys to like wellness. Thank you, lover sage. Yeah. And then Joy asks, how has your perspective on life changed? And I'd like to start this one with Cammie, actually, and then we'll go to Andon. So how has this changed your perspective of life, Cam?
Probably the biggest journey toward trust. Learning to trust what is. I think me, along with most of us as human beings, are really good at resisting what is when it doesn't suit us or it's different than what we wanted. Not accepting that it's reality. We think that we changed something, but no matter how hard I tried to not accept that cancer was inside my son's body, it didn't help. It didn't go away.
Really? It didn't?
It didn't miraculously have him stand up and walk and be like, wow, thanks, Mom, it's gone. Damn it. I tried so hard. The moment that I stopped resisting it, I actually became closer to Andon. Because as I was resisting the cancer that was in his body, I really didn't like seeing how much pain he was in. I would dive into research and disconnect from him and run over there thinking that I could somehow protect him and get him out of this. All of the lies that I was telling myself. When I accepted, okay, Cammie, reality is cancer is inside Andon's body. And if I choose to trust that it's here for him, which was against everything I'd ever been able to say in my life, like how could something so heinous be for someone that I love so much? But I allowed myself to, if I trust this, the reality of this, then what? And as I leaned into trusting what is and believing what is, I actually could come closer to Andon. I knew that I couldn't take it from him in that moment because I stopped lying to myself. But I knew what I was capable of, and that was that I am so sorry that you're going through this. I have no idea what's happening or when it'll be relieved or healed. But what I do know is I'm here, Andon, and I've got your hand. Do you want a massage? Do you want me to rub your feet? Do you want me to crawl up on your hospital bed and snuggle in and just hold you while you cry? Because that is something I did have to give. But I didn't even think of those things when I was resisting reality. I was running away from him. So that's been probably the biggest shift for me, was acceptance of what is. Trusting that if it's here, it's for my good, not here to harm me or hurt me, even if death, it was always an option. It's been something we've toggled back and forth. And even I remember this moment distinctly, that when Andon was not only in the pain from the osteosarcoma was inside his femur bone, breaking his bone apart. He was in that pain, and then he was in the pain of the chemotherapy killing all of him, the healthy and the unhealthy. So nauseous, out of energy, couldn't remember things. And then added that to the surgery. of cutting his leg open, 13 hours of surgery, of pulling his muscles, everything that had touched the cancer cells out and replacing it with the cadaver bone. When he was in all of those types of pain, unfathomable, he looked at me and said, "Mom, what if I don't want to keep fighting? What if this is too painful for me and I want to go?" And the mother in me wanted to shake him and be like, "No, you fight, damn it. We're doing this together." But the wisdom in me said, "And I trust you. I trust if you choose that it was the best thing for you, and know that I will miss you like crazy, and I love you no matter what." And he looked up at me and said, "Really, Mom?" I said, "Really?" And he goes, "Then maybe I'll make the decision tomorrow. I'm tired and I'm just going to go to sleep right now." And then the next day he made the decision that I want to be here today. And the next day, right? And then it led to complete unfolding and this love of himself that he had never had. His whole life was shifting as he chose to, I do want to live. I forgot. I do want this body. I like this body. I like this existence. I choose life and I choose me. Trusting him and trusting reality. That was probably the biggest flip for me as mama. Thank you for asking that.
Thank you, Cami. Thank you for the honesty and the vulnerability. And what I was hearing was that what you've learned from the situation is acceptance and trust. And I really admire the walk from denial and pushing it away, because understandably, right? And you even said, if I just pretend like it's not happening, right? And I appreciate the sentiment that the moment that you accepted it, it actually brought more closeness between the two of you and opened up the doorway that allowed you to become more supportive to him as a mom. I also really admire the strength that it must have taken when Andon asked or shared that he was tired and maybe didn't want to fight anymore. What courage and selflessness to say, I trust your decision making. And as Andon had expressed in the beginning, getting diagnosed at 17 and all the grownups making all of these decisions for him, I can imagine, Andon, that was really liberating to receive the answer, it's your choice. I trust your decision making. That's huge. Thank you for sharing. I also, in that, really heard the innocent archetype. This has changed me into more of an innocent. I trust and I accept, and I have hope still. I also really heard the caretaker in there as well. I'm going to climb up on your bed and hold you. I'm going to do what I can to be with you in however that looks in this moment. Thank you, Cami. And before you go, there's been a lot of messages coming through. Do you mind if I read them before you share? Thank you.
Go ahead.
Let's see. On a spiritual level, family support. Good evening. Hello. My son had cancer. This is Kate. My son had cancer for all of us. I often wonder if that is true. That's interesting. I wonder, Andon, if there's any awareness in you that understands that you might be holding a point that's actually like a family point. Cam said earlier something about you being the center of a wheel, and that the web of the family system was all around and everyone is experiencing this, but you're the one who's sort of holding the point on that.
Yes.
Would you like?
Yeah. So I agree 100%. My whole family was going through a really, really, really rough time in that space, to where My parents could not get along because they had just gotten done with a divorce. Her parents were upset with her because she was choosing to leave the church. Like, there was just so much separation happening in our family. But with such a major event like someone dying, it forces all of that, the bullshit, away. Like, it just clears it all, and you have to choose in or out. Like, are you here to support me, or are you gone? Because if you're not here to support, then we don't need you here right now. So it kind of just pushes everything else aside and says, okay, we're getting to the root of it. Do you love us, or are you going to go be somewhere else? I'm very grateful for the healing that it has created within my own family. Like, my parents can be in the same room again, and it's great because we can, go celebrate my little brother's volleyball games together with mom and dad there. He can have pictures with mom and dad, like every kid wants to have. Like, it's just much more supportive. And her parents started opening up their minds to different possibilities instead of only the church route, being like, okay, we love Cammie. We've loved Cammie our entire lives, like her entire life. We've loved Cammie. Why is this one decision going to change that? And are we going to let it change that? And seeing them come back, and the rest of her siblings even feeling more comfortable to be open and free with their parents because she got a good reaction. Well, an amended reaction. It just created a safer space for everybody to let go of the harsh judgments and beliefs that they've been holding on to that were causing separation, and just love each other because we're family. Just love each other because we wanted to.
Hey, Andon, thanks for holding that point for everyone. Yeah. Leah, it's true you go into service and support mode, and it's a blessing when you have the support for yourself. The being of service helped me with my mom twice. My mom helped with my 2 nephews 2 times with brain cancer. It's a blessing to have them here with us now. But it can be so difficult to go through with them. Thank goodness for the team of professionals, family, and friends. Thank you for sharing this, Andon. And then Bernadette wants to know if you've done past life regression, either one of you. I'm assuming also mostly Andon. And if you've ever read the book, Many Lives, Many Masters, and could it be something from a past life?
I have done one past life regression, but admittedly, I slept through the whole thing. So, and then I have not read that book yet.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. My view on that is shifting a little bit. I really believe that now is what matters. A lot of people love to have the understanding of what's come karmically and through the Akashic records and through our experiences. For me personally, if it's here now, it's here now. Mm-hmm. If I accept that it's here now, it doesn't matter how it got here. It's here now. Let's run with it. Where do we go from here, from now on? What? From now on. Yes, such a song break. So yeah, there's my take on that question.
Thank you, guys. Thank you both. There's a lot of healing coming through the network for both of you. Michelson says, wow, powerful. We feel it and heal with you. Donna Bond says, thank you, Cam. Michael Zinn also says, incredible truth in that. Let go and trust. Jennifer McCormick, my 23-year-old was born with cerebral palsy, had meningitis at 9 months old, is nonverbal, has autism, and just an absolute joy and a whiz with technology. My 19-year-old has Williams syndrome and Hera repairs. I don't know how to say those words, guys. At 5 and 7 weeks old, congenital heart disease, and recently diagnosed with chronic kidney disease. Again, an absolute joy to be around and honored to be their safe space and advocate for the best possible life that they deserve. Jennifer McCormick, blessings to you and your family and both of your children. All right. So I want to code switch with you guys if you're open to it.
Open.
Code switch. Ooh. Yesterday, we had the incredible pleasure of talking about core wounding and how it relates to the development of personality. So would each of you take a moment to share, and this can be found in Gene Keys, and if you're interested in getting into your own Gene Keys, contact Donna Bond. In the meantime, Cam, Andon, tell us about your core wounds.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So my core wound for this Cami experience is shame. The understanding of something is inherently wrong with me. It expresses as weakness. So my core phrase that would be brought to my attention is that I would feel stupid. That was when shame was going to be washing all over me. And so that is the main distortion that I have seen life through. When whatever's happening out here, I interpret it, oh, I am wrong. Not I did something wrong, but I am wrong. That's my core wound. And
Yeah.
it's my sacred core wound. I'm going to throw that in.
Mine, through the Gene Keys thing, is rejection. And yesterday when we were talking, we were learning how much that relates to the everyman archetype, which was really interesting. These are some of the researches that I've cheated off of course. But the way that it manifests, the rejection core wound manifests as frustration, right? Yep. Yeah, and then the opposite of it is innocence, and you gotta help me. I don't know. I don't remember.
Gentleness.
Help him cheat, Cam. Help him cheat.
And the antidote for rejection is gentleness.
Gentleness and acceptance.
And acceptance.
Yeah. Which is super interesting, going off of the other archetype as well, because with that, like the everyman is the one that wants to be loved and accepted by everybody, and like fits into any situation. That's exactly what I would like want, but because of my core wound of rejection, like that's not something that I would try for. Because of the fear of rejection, I would rather just stay in my own lane and have my own way until all of this journey, of course, when I am learning about what is actually going on, the healing that has to happen for me to get to the place that I want to be, and just what feels good to me. Those were never questions that I asked myself before. It was just like, okay, how do I fit in this situation? They all seem like they're having a great time. I'm gonna be over here until somebody comes and talks to me, because then I know that they're not gonna reject me. They came to talk to me. But I've done a lot of work with that. I've become more outgoing, more open to talking with people.
I'm on here. Look at this.
I'm so grateful.
And just sharing my story in general without obsessing over the thought of, oh, what if someone doesn't like me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot. I love that. And I forgot to say the funniest part when we were talking about this yesterday, the archetype that Suri sees in me so often and that I've played throughout my whole life is the innocent. And even the therapist working with me is like, Cami, you are delusionally optimistic, young lady. And I'm like, so that's good, right? He's like, well, if you're going to be delusional, I guess you might as well choose optimism. He's like, I have never seen that in someone. So this is a first for me. The fact that I go to that place of innocence, seeing my own innocence, seeing everybody's innocence, and playing from that platform, that is actually the antidote to shame. Shame presents as weakness. The antidote is actually playfulness, humor, and innocence. Being able to laugh and giggle about, oh, I'm so human. There I go.
Oops.
Is my human showing? Just being But that it just was a fun correlation that we were finding with the archetypes of what are. You're welcome.
You said you got it from your mom. I don't know.
Oh.
Somebody said that. I was just reading
Oh.
Continue.
Anyway, what we were talking about yesterday, it's fun to bring in our sacred wounds and see how they portray in the archetypes. Pull us into the caretaker in me takes care of the weak, the sick, the ones who need help. My wound says I'm that. I'm the weak one. And so here I'm trying to help everyone because that's what I get to do for myself. Any of these archetypes, how the reason they're showing up for us and playing a part is because we're in need of them, but we think we are playing it for everybody else. It's not for them. It's to be like, oh, I'm playing the caretaker archetype because I need that to give that back to myself. And so that was a fun little switch. And Suri, are you willing to share yours?
Yes, and you'll have to help me because you have more information on it than I do, but my core wound is denial. Just so everybody knows. And the way that I actually had an encounter with denial in the last month, I was really sick. And like the first week I was sick, I'm like, I'm fine. And I kept working and I kept pushing through. I was like sweeping and cleaning and doing laundry and taking calls and I'm cooking and I'm like, I'm fine. I'm not sick at all. I'm not sick at all. And then it hit like a pivotal peak and I was like, okay, I need to call in reinforcements and some help because Suri's going down. But I was practicing denial for a good week there. And Cami and Andon, you guys shared with me. Oh, Donna Bond, me too. You shared with me that the medicine for it is extreme transparency and ease. Yeah. And I can see that in myself that over my lifetime, it was very difficult for me to be transparent and honest. And especially even when I was sick, I was just like, maybe nobody notices. I bet I can cover this up. I bet I can recover before anyone even knows that I'm sick. And that wasn't the case. And life brought me to my knees. And I needed to phone some friends and call some people and be like, hey, I'm really struggling. I'm really suffering. And was radically transparent about what I was experiencing. And I had this really incredible friend show up for me in a grand way. She's watching right now, Joy Bostrom. What up, girl? She came, took me to the doctor, helped me get my medications. Other friends came and cooked meals for me. Another friend got on a bus for an hour and a half to come and help me clean the hostel. And it was through the radical transparency that I was met with a lot of ease. It was really powerful. Yeah. Donna Bond says, curious about your thoughts around denial and projections. You guys got any insights on that?
Just as it like being a way that your body shows you or the world shows you what you're denying. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh,
That's what I was thinking too. That whatever you're repressing, you start to project it on the world outside of you and see it in other people, but it's actually you. Similarly to what you were saying, Cami, about if your core wound is shame, then you start to show up as the innocent joker because that's the medicine that you need, right? And if it's the reverse, where you're in denial and you've got this stuff shoved way back in your subconscious, then you'll most likely project it onto the world and the people around you rather than being able to accept it as you. And yes, honestly, yes, blind spots.
Yes,
Yeah.
for denial, it shows up as fear. So like you will manifest your fears because you're denying the truth that you're a magical being.
Yeah, and something that we've researched a lot with projections itself is that whatever it is outside of you that you're feeling any type of way about, whether it's positive or negative, usually projections is seen as a negative, but that's what's going on like that's what you're actually upset about in yourself. So if I'm mad at somebody else for, dropping something and spilling on me, I'm probably upset at myself for feeling dumb or something like that. Whatever it is that I'm trying to put onto them is something that I need to look at for myself with projections and stuff.
We like to say our judgments are our confessions. Ba-dum-bum-bum.
I love that. Our judgments are our confessions. It's really beautiful. We have about 4 minutes. And with this time, I'd like to invite anyone who is watching now or later and let you know that Andon currently has a GoFundMe to support his health journey. And it has been popping up on the bottom of the screen, and it will pop up again, I'm sure. There it is. GoFundMe for Andon. So if you can contribute anything, $5, $10, $15 or more, anything helps to support Andon and his family as they embark on this healing journey. And you can also find more information about Cami here at Camster Dance. What is it? What? Camster Dance? There it is. Camster Dance on Instagram. And Cami is an incredible mentor, coach, and facilitator. So if you are drawn to her energy at all, please reach out to her. She's an incredible person to work with. And you can also find Andon on Instagram at andonmitchell.22. So if you guys have been inspired by their walk, inspired by their story, inspired by their energy, please go and check them out. And again, any support on the GoFundMe will help them in this journey and in this process. And as we're closing, I'd like to offer you each an opportunity. So for anyone who watches this, what would you like them to know, understand? What's the message that you would like to share from your perspective of existence at this time?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That you're doing way better than you think you are. That you are more magical and mystical and creative and delicious than you can even imagine. And looking in the mirror in your own eyes and I invite you to fall in love, be in awe at the soul and the human being mix that is looking back at you.
And anything is possible with the power of belief. Like if you really want something truly, it can happen. You are more powerful than you believe. More powerful than you think. As powerful as you believe. Can't hear you.
Okay, there we go. You know what it made me think of?
What?
If I can see it, then I can be it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky. I think about it every night and day. Spread my wings and fly away.
I believe I can fly.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Oh, thank you both for being on the show. It is such a sincere delight. And thank you to everyone who's been watching and participating.
This was so fun to be on your stage.
Welcome. If you guys want more Cancer Dancer, she's going to be on again in October. You won't want to miss it. Good night, everybody.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love you all. Thank you.